Welcome to The Advocate's Voice, Personal Injury with David Maran.
Welcome back to The Advocate's Voice, Personal Injury with David Maran. David is a New Jersey personal injury and auto accident attorney with more than 35 years of experience fighting for people who've been seriously injured due to someone else's negligence. I'm John Lieberman, and today we're talking about construction site injuries, what rights you really have beyond workers' compensation, and how a personal injury lawyer can help you uncover additional claims. This is episode 8, Injured on a Construction Site. You may have more than a comp claim. Good to see you, David. How are you today?
Good afternoon.
All right, let's jump right in. If I'm hurt at a construction site in New Jersey, is workers' compensation my only option for recovery?
Maybe not. Sometimes it is, but if someone other than your employer or a co-employee is responsible for the happening of the accident, then you have a comp case and you have what we commonly call a third-party action.
That's interesting. So how can a personal injury lawyer help if my accident was caused by a third party, what you just alluded to, and not my employer?
Yes. Well, in workers' comp, you're entitled to workers' comp if you were injured on the job. As long as you weren't, drunk or doing something stupid, you're covered. You're simply covered. And basically, you get three things. You get your authorized medical care, authorized time off from work, and for temporary disability. And then if you have a permanent disability, later on, you will receive permanent disability for that, whatever the injury is. A third-party action, something other than yourself, you're the first party, your employer is the second party, and anyone else is a third party. For example, it could be something as simple as a truck was delivering plywood to the accident, to the location, and in the process of the fork truck moving in the plywood, they somehow hit you from behind with the truck and caused a terrible injury. If they're a separate company, they're responsible for their own negligence to you and to your employer, for that matter. That's a slightly different discussion, but they're certainly responsible to you. So you go and you get your comp. They take care of you physically. They send you to the doctor. They get you well. And the personal injury lawyer gathers the evidence to make the direct claim against in this case, the delivery company who's delivering the plywood. A claim letter goes out, pictures are obtained, investigation reports, all the evidence that you can gather to support that claim. And you negotiate directly with them. When you recover against a third party, by statute, you must repay generally 2/3 of that recovery back to the workers' comp company. The employers love this because when the workers' comp carrier is reimbursed, their rating improves. They do better financially on terms of premium. They're very happy when you recover against someone else. And the money is better. You're not limited by the monies that you can obtain in workers' comp.
So let me ask you this. How do you figure out whether a construction injury case involves negligence beyond workers' comp?
Well, you need to factually know what happened. And it has to involve someone other than a co-employee or your employer themselves. So if you are on a job site that is completely controlled by your employer and everyone on the job site is a co-employee, then unless we hear an unusual fact pattern, you're likely not to have a comp. But if it's a typical job site where there's many trades working, there's many companies bringing product to the location. There's machines coming in. Um, so there are many other ways you can become hurt on the job that is not the cause of your employer or a co-employee, or even yourself for that matter. You could be operating a machine that should have been guarded,
Hmm.
and you get hurt. Well, you sue the machine manufacturer for the failure to provide the appropriate guard on the machine. And that's a third party case. Um, it could be as simple as you're you're driving or in a vehicle to do a job for the construction site, and there's an automobile accident. You're struck by another vehicle, and injury is caused. Well, that's probably not a co-employee or your employer. So that would be a third party against that other vehicle that
Hmm.
perhaps rear-ended you. You still get comp, but at the end of the day, you're going to get more than that, a lot more than that, hopefully, and you're going to get it in a negligence claim against that other person, that third party who is responsible to you.
So, David, what's the difference between a workers' comp lawyer and a personal injury lawyer in cases like this? And when should I contact a lawyer?
There are lawyers that do both. I found over the years that the people who do workers' comp exclusively are much better at it. It is a different court system
Hmm.
than the superior court. It is the workers' comp court. It's a different set of judges, a different laws, different proofs. It's just simply done differently. So the workers' comp specialists, that's what they do day in, day out, and they do a better job. They're faster. They can get things done quicker because they're fully plugged in to those insurance companies who insure the employers. On the liability side, the negligence side, that of a personal injury attorney, all of that is done in the superior court, which is a different court than the workers' comp. So the specialists there, the people that do this every day, that's where they gain their experience, and that's how they achieve the results that they're getting.
So, you alluded to this, David, but I want to dig a little deeper. When can a person sue a contractor or property owner or equipment manufacturer for unsafe conditions on a job site?
Okay, well, the equipment we mentioned earlier, if the equipment itself is unsafe and could have been designed better, or perhaps it wasn't manufactured correctly, that would be a products liability case against the manufacturer, and that is one form of third party. With regard to a property owner, if the property owner had the responsibility to keep the job site safe and they failed to do so, that's negligence. That would depend upon what the contracts are and who had the responsibility to keep the job site safe. You could be, I had a case, an electrician was working on a job site, and he was doing installs of fixtures on the second floor of a building, and the contractor hadn't bothered to put up temporary railings or safety barriers over an exposed hole where a stairway was going to go.
Hmm.
And this electrician took a step back too far and went down through that hole, and he had a fractured spine, and the contractor was responsible to put up safety barriers around that hole, that cutout where the stairway was eventually going to land. And so it's all fact sensitive. You're looking for someone other than the employer who is responsible to you. And in that situation, you have a viable negligence claim, different than workers' comp, always brought in the Superior Court.
So here's a wrinkle. How do you handle cases where someone falls from scaffolding or is hit by falling debris on a construction site?
Scaffolding is interesting. Often there are private companies that are hired to come in and put up the scaffolding, and they rent the scaffolding for a period of time. At the end of the job site, when it's time, they come back and they take down the scaffolding. If that scaffolding was put up improperly and you fall because of it, then they're responsible to you. The trick is going to be to gather the evidence that proves that. Now, I'm going to sidetrack just a touch, but in a catastrophic job site accident, often there's a lot of investigation going on immediately thereafter. OSHA may come in. The insurance companies may come in. Lots of investigators are going around taking photos, trying to take statements, preparing reports. That's part of the collection process in gaining that evidence to prove your case. Many times it is done by OSHA, for example, or some other investigative body. So part of the personal injuries lawyer's job is to gather all of that and do what additional evidence collection is necessary.
You have been doing this for a very long time. What can a New Jersey personal injury lawyer do to help maximize compensation beyond medical bills and lost wages and things of that sort?
In a construction accident case, you got to know how to jump right in. You hopefully have been called soon after the accident while things are fresh. I would get a hold of the insurance companies that are likely already doing investigation and try to see what I could find out immediately. Immediately contact whatever state, local, or even federal agencies are there doing investigation. And again, start obtaining copies of what's available. Start to put a picture together of really how your workman was hurt so that you can determine whether there's something beyond just comp.
Very enlightening, David. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
And thank you for tuning in to The Advocate's Voice. If you or someone you love was injured on a construction site, you may have legal options that go far beyond workers' compensation, as you just heard. So to connect with David, visit njmalpractice.com. And don't forget to leave a review, and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.